The Lord's Prayer is understood as a request for forgiveness of our sins. But the original text formulates this request in a different way. The prayer itself remains the same. What changed was the meaning that came to be heard. And when something so central is repeated in this way, it is not just a single word that changes. The way the Lord's Prayer is understood today was learned through repetition. From an early age, the request is associated with the idea of sin and moral guilt. This became automatic. Most people never return to the original text to see how it was recorded. Over time, this reading ceased to feel like an interpretation and began to sound like part of the text itself. Habit replaced examination. The meaning was inherited, not rediscovered. When the prayer began to circulate in other languages, it had to adapt to the religious vocabulary that already existed. The moral language of sin was dominant. To translate was to frame the request within that structure. Gradually, this choice stopped being perceived as a choice. It became standard. And the standard came to define what forgiveness is understood to mean within the prayer. In the language in which it was recorded, the term used at this point does not belong to the same field of inner guilt. It had common and concrete usage at the time. This does not mean the text is wrong or concealed. It simply means that the traditional reading does not correspond exactly to the way the request was formulated. Here, the discomfort begins. The text does not fit perfectly into the interpretation that became dominant. The word used is linked to something owed, something outstanding, something that needs to be resolved. It operates within a relational logic, not merely a psychological one. The request is not only about relieving inner guilt, it involves the removal of something that weighs upon a relationship. That is why the text connects this request to the way the one praying acts. When reduced merely to sin, the request loses part of this concrete structure. The prayer ceases to deal with real obligations and comes to be understood almost exclusively as an inner experience. Over time, this reading shaped the practice of the prayer. The request continues to be made, but its scope becomes narrower. The difference is no longer found only in translation. It lies in the way the prayer came to function. And when that happens, it is not merely a linguistic nuance that is at stake.